All right, let's just dive right in. Generative AI is, it's changing absolutely everything. But all this incredible power brings a whole new world of security risks with it. So today, we are going deep into the complex, super fast-moving world of securing these new AI systems. We're going to go way beyond the basics to see what real enterprise-grade protection actually looks like. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll explore this new world of risk that generative AI is creating. Then, we're going to talk about closing the gap between academic research and what businesses actually need. After that, we'll look at why just building a digital fortress isn't enough, how you can actually use AI to fight AI threats, and finally, we'll pull it all together into a complete security playbook.
You've seen it everywhere. The adoption of generative AI is just exploding. It's in every industry. But this crazy, fast expansion is opening up a brand new and, let's be honest, a pretty dangerous security frontier, where all the old rules and the old tools, they just don't work anymore.
So how seriously are companies taking this new threat? Well, this number, 73%, that represents the huge majority of enterprises that are reacting to these new threats. It's the percentage
Of enterprises that are seriously ramping up their spending, specifically on cybersecurity for AI. Now, this spending surge, it definitely shows how urgent the problem is. But it also begs a really critical question, right? Because just throwing money at a problem, that's not a strategy. To invest your money wisely, you have to understand the different layers of AI security and figure out where the biggest gaps really are. It's not about spending more, it's about spending smarter. And a huge part of spending smarter means we have to close this gap. The one between brilliant academic research and the practical day-to-day security needs of an actual business.
You can kind of see this gap play out in the tools we have today. On one hand, you've got these powerful open-source frameworks, like Microsoft's Pyrite. They're amazing for researchers who are digging into vulnerabilities, but they often mean you have to host it yourself and have a whole team just to manage it. Then on the other hand, you have commercial platforms like a VeriGenAI that are built from the ground up as managed, production-ready services, designed to plug right into a business.
And that right there, that's what we call the enterprise gap. Trying to turn a research tool into something you use every day in a business means you have to jump over some big hurdles. The sheer complexity of hosting it yourself, adding critical features like role-based access control, which is just a fancy way of saying who gets to see and do what, and the fact that it takes a whole lot of people and time for your team to manage.
Okay, so this leads to a really important idea. Securing your AI is about way more than just building a strong digital fortress around your cloud stuff. You also have to be proactively testing for threats that can get inside that fortress and actually trick the AI itself.
This table breaks it down perfectly. You've got two layers of defense that have to work together. So take a common risk like prompt injection. That's basically where an attacker uses clever words to trick the AI into breaking its own rules. The infrastructure layer, from someone like AWS, gives you the wall. Things like input validation and guardrails. But then a proactive testing layer acts like your own personal red team, using its own AI agents to constantly look for ways around that wall. The same idea applies to stopping sensitive info leaks or preventing the AI from doing things it's not supposed to. One layer builds the defense, the other stress tests it.
And that's really the core idea here. A solid infrastructure, like what you can build with AWS services, is absolutely essential, no question. But it has to be constantly validated against clever, application-level attacks that are trying to manipulate the AI's logic, not just smash through a firewall. So how in the world do you test for these tricky attacks? Well, since the bad guys can use AI to launch intelligent, adaptive attacks, your security testing has to be just as dynamic. You really do have to fight fire with fire, or in this case, fight AI with AI. This really boils down to the difference between static and dynamic testing. Static testing, that's the old way. It uses a fixed list of known attacks. It's generic, and it never learns. Dynamic AI-powered testing is a whole different ballgame. It generates unique attacks that are tailor-made for your specific application, it understands the context of what it's doing, and, this is the key, it learns from every single test to get smarter over time. To make that happen, a dynamic testing platform isn't just one thing.
It's more like a whole team of specialized AI agents, where each one is trained to hunt for specific vulnerabilities. For example, one of the leading platforms uses 42 different agents, and each one uses a whole range of adaptive strategies. And these agents, they're not just banging on the door. They are using sophisticated methods. Sure, they can try direct attacks, but they also do things like gradually escalate their privileges, role-play as different kinds of users, hide what they're doing with technical tricks, or even use social engineering to manipulate the AI. It's pretty wild.
And when you look at the results from this adaptive AI-powered approach, they can be pretty dramatic. We're talking about performance metrics like hitting over 90% detection accuracy, slashing the number of false positives that just waste your security team's time, and massively speeding up how quickly you can get from a proof of concept to a secure, live deployment.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What does a modern, actionable playbook for complete AI security actually look like in practice?
It's really a simple but powerful three-step loop. First, you assess. You figure out where you stand right now to get a security baseline. Next, you use what you found to improve your defenses, and then you retest to see if it worked. And finally, and this is crucial, you monitor continuously by plugging these tests right into your CI/CD pipeline, your automated development process, so you can catch new threats before they ever go live.
Ultimately, the whole point of this is to achieve what security pros call defense in depth. And it's not about choosing one thing over another. It's about combining a rock-solid infrastructure foundation with a proactive, intelligent validation layer that is constantly testing, checking, and helping you strengthen those defenses against how attackers actually operate in the real world.
Which kind of leaves us with one last really important thought. Your AI models are learning machines, right? They adapt and change with every single interaction. So in a world full of learning machines, relying on security that doesn't learn, well, that's not just a disadvantage. It means you're pretty much designed to always be one step behind.